Hello, and welcome back to another episode of our daily game series. I missed yesterday's episode. I apologize for that. I'm moving this week, as I've stated a few times. Spent all last week packing, and now I'm in the final stages of actually getting everything together and moving out. So there will be future interruptions, almost assuredly, over the course of the next week, possibly even 2 weeks, depending on how long it takes to get things set up at my new place. But we are recording an episode today, so let's get to it. This is Namibia. We emphasized the extra piece that hangs out a week or two ago. I don't remember exactly when it was, but whenever we had Zimbabwe bordering Namibia on Globle, and it threw me off because I forgot about this thing. We have the Kalahari Desert right around here where they filmed Mad Max Fury Road. We've got South Africa, Botswana, Angola. It's a pretty unique looking country, and it follows the Crouching Puma corollary. When you see straight lines, you are in Africa 99% of the time. I did not realize. I mean, just shows my age. You know, I was born in the mid-90s, so there was no way for me to know this without like studying the history, and I did fairly recently. That this was part of South Africa up until like the early 90s, I'm pretty sure, like 1990, 1991, 1989, somewhere around there. It was while they were going through the stages of deconstructing apartheid. Nelson Mandela was becoming president, all of that stuff. Namibia, I think, has a higher proportion of black population. I don't know. South Africa also has a high proportion. I don't remember. I am not an expert on South African history or Namibian history or really any kind of history, but especially not this area of history. So I apologize. I'm probably butchering some things. I don't want to lead you astray. But yeah, up until like 30 years ago, Namibia was part of South Africa. It was called like Southwest Africa, which obviously goes back even further to like the British colonization and stuff. Anyway, that's enough of that little history rabbit hole. Let's start with Libya. Not close at all. 5,000 kilometers. It looks like I don't recognize this color. Have they changed the color palette? That would be a bit strange. 5,000 miles is quite the distance. Let's go to Brazil. I feel like they changed the color palette. Laos? Whoa! Laos borders this country. So I almost guessed Vietnam. We've had Vietnam before, I think. Which makes me not want to guess Vietnam. I'm like 90% sure we had Vietnam because I think it was one of those ones where I kind of guessed randomly and it was right. And I was like, oh, that's convenient. So it's either Thailand. I don't think Myanmar and Laos touch each other. China or Cambodia. Or Vietnam, but I don't think it's Vietnam because we've already had it. I'm going to go, what was it? Like 4,700 miles? The United States, again, this is my point of reference, I believe is roughly 3,000 miles. Might be a little more, maybe a little less. But I feel like, alright, so let's just, my very, very rough transposition here is that the US would stretch from like Libya to Pakistan. That might be way too much. Again, I'm dumb. But that seems, once you get around the equator like this, it kind of throws off things. But that seems about right, perhaps. That seems a little large. That's a long way. But anyway, so if that were the case, does this seem like 1,700 miles? Does this seem like... I can't check what the kilometers would be. I think it's, what, like 2.2? No, that's like pounds and kilograms. I think it's like 1.6 or 1.7 miles per kilometer. No, it's kilometers per mile, because a mile is longer than a kilometer. So yeah, it was like 7,000 kilometers. Jesus, this is not entertaining to watch. I apologize. I just want to get it right on my third one. I really want to. I'm torn between... I don't think it's China, because I think that would be that stretches too far west. It would be closer to Libya. So I'm torn between Thailand and Cambodia, and I'm going to go Thailand. Yes! That was mostly luck. It was basically 50-50, and I just thought this would be a little too far away. So yeah, that worked out really well. We got it in 4. I think I said I wanted to get it in 3, but I meant 4. Because we had already used 3 guesses. That feels very nice. And we've had Thailand on here, but we've also had China 3 times and Vietnam twice, so you never know what they're going to cook up. That is the flag of Indonesia if we are going southeast. Indonesia, Poland, Austria, Monaco, they're all very similar. I get them confused going out straight off the dome, but when they give me the directions, it makes it rather easy to differentiate. So, nothing too hard here. I have no idea what this is. This looks like a 70s movie. I'm thinking like Chinatown. I've never seen Chinatown. So, I know. Don't at me. It's on the list, along with about 2,000 other movies. That's not an exaggeration. My my watch list on Letterboxd is approaching 2,000 films, despite the fact that I've already logged like 1,300 films. But that includes some short films, some stand-up specials, some TV shows. So I would say I've actually probably only seen, quote unquote, somewhere in the neighborhood of like 1,100 to 1,150 films. I don't know why I've never seen Chinatown. I can't even. It's who's the guy in Chinatown? It's not. Is it Jack Nicholson? Or no, I don't think he's in Chinatown. He's in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Is it Al Pacino? It's one of those super famous guys. If this isn't Chinatown, we're gonna have to rely on a very famous image. This is a pretty famous image, but I can't think of what it is off the top of my head. Is this like John Cassavetes? Who is this? I don't know. Is that a freaking eyeball and an eyebrow? It totally is. That is horrifying. Is this, like North by Northwest? I think we've already had that on here, but I know it's a color Hitchcock movie. This looks too new to be a Hitchcock movie. This looks to me like late 60s, early 70s. Nope. No idea. Masculine, feminine? I don't know if that's in color or in black and white. I don't know exactly when it came out. I don't know. Lolita? I don't think that's in color. I also think that would be... That's like early 60s. I don't think this would be that. A religion... This isn't The Exorcist. A, we've already had The Exorcist. I know that for a fact. And B... This isn't Rosemary's Baby. We've also already had that, I'm pretty sure. It's not The Exorcist. I know it's not The Exorcist. I've seen The Exorcist. None of these pictures are from The Exorcist. What is this? I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna lose it because it's a famous movie that I haven't seen, and I'm embarrassed. Not because I should have gotten it. Obviously, it's kind of weird to expect yourself to get something that you haven't seen. So I'm just... I don't know. I can't even think of like movies from that time period that I haven't seen. Like Nashville. This is not Nashville, but that looks like Jack Nicholson. Wait a minute. What is happening? This can't be this. This can't. No, this not because he's in the hospital. That doesn't make any sense. Bad Education. I'm pretty sure I've heard of it. Honestly, I was expecting a way more famous movie. This image I know I've seen before. I feel like this also looks vaguely familiar. This does not. The outfit here looks familiar, but maybe just because of the 70s. There's Jack. I was looking at this guy the whole time. Jack Nicholson is literally right there. That is Jack Nicholson, right? I'm not like losing my mind. And I was like, oh no, that's not Jack Nicholson. That's Al Pacino. That has to be Jack Nicholson. I don't know. So they've changed Actorle. I take literally one day off They changed the whole damn thing. So we knew they released an app, because they were advertising that on the page a few days ago, and it said a new and improved version. And I suppose now they've ported that new and improved version over to the browser version. Listening to your feedback, we have updated the movie list. The actor's 20 highest grossing films are listed now regardless of their IMDb rating. This is in sync with the Actorle's app logic. I can't help but feel partially responsible for this, seeing that I did email the creator of this and say I think the 7.0 cutoff kind of ruins the fun. I think it makes it a little too easy a lot of the times. I like the idea of their 20 most popular movies, but that's not necessarily what this is. This is their 20 highest grossing movies. How is that? I don't know how it's going to affect like modern actors who do a lot of streaming movies. I feel like that is a monkey wrench that perhaps they have not accounted for. We'll have to see how that evolves over time. This person is in a assload of comedies. You can see right away, literally two of the movies on my screen right now, and it would be these first two, would have appeared prior to yesterday, I guess, or today. I don't know when because I didn't record yesterday. I don't know if this update went live yesterday or today. None of these movies right here would have appeared on this person's Actorle page 2 days ago, which is a mortifying prospect. We have a fucking 4.8, ladies and gentlemen. A whole lot of comedies. So, like, the first person that comes to mind is, like, Will Ferrell, Steve Carell, someone like that. Could this be Get Hard? I'm trying to think of Will Ferrell movies from... He kind of fell off, didn't he? Anchorman 2, what year was that? Well, let's just go back to the early ones. Why are we doing it in hard mode? Let's look at the famous ones. I can't remember what... Wasn't he? He was in Austin Powers. Yeah, okay. Yes. International Man of Mystery, The Spy Who Shagged Me. God. International Man of Mystery should honestly have like an 11.0. It is a perfect film. Can't think of what these would be. These two have 7s. I probably should know these. Here's Anchorman. Talladega Nights. Step Brothers. I should recognize more of these. My fastball has left me. I obviously love Will Ferrell, but he, much like my fastball has left me, I feel like his fastball has kind of left him. Or at least the movies that Zoolander, of course, Old School, Elf. Okay, yeah, like 3 of the most famous comedies of the 21st century. I don't know that his fastball has left him per se. I forgot he was in Wedding Crashers. It's that the kind of movies he made in the 2000s are not popular now, which, you know, God, this movie is fucking horrible. I think this was one of the first movies I ever rented digitally. Because it was Zach Galifianakis and Will Ferrell. How could it not be the greatest movie of all time? There was also this was when I was in high school. I was at like the peak of my like politics pilled debate bro energy. But I was not like a little Ben Shapiro. Don't get the wrong idea about me. This was well after my grandparents' brainwashing of me had worn off at a much younger age. But yeah, I think I like the idea of Will Ferrell more than I like Will Ferrell. Like, I think Talladega Nights is honestly not very good. Step Brothers, I think, is a certified uber banger. I think it's probably on my 21st century comedies Mount Rushmore. It's so fucking funny. He and John C. Reilly, like, obviously they did a lot of stuff together, but that was like when that was the one time the how does it only have a 6.9? Oh, it's so good. I've never seen Stranger Than Fiction. Wedding Crashers is good, but hasn't aged super well. Not that I try to not hold that against comedies, because comedy is such a fickle mistress. But that's not a Will Ferrell movie. That's a Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn movie. Kicking and Screaming, not for me. Bewitched, Starsky and Hutch, never seen it. Anchorman, never seen it. I know, I know. Elf is one of my most hated movies of all time. I've talked about this several times in this series. It's probably in my top 10 most hated movies. I fucking despise Elf with every fiber of my being. Old School, not for me. Zoolander, not for me. Austin Powers, amazing, but much like Wedding Crashers, Will Ferrell has a small role. It's not what you think of when you think of Will Ferrell, or when you think of those movies. Will Ferrell on SNL, is probably one of the great forces of comedy of at least like modern American culture. He was so I've watched the Will Ferrell SNL highlights that they used to do, like religiously. I just would watch them over and over and over and over again as a kid. He was unreal. Carl Urban to Jack Black. This sounds simple. Wait. So Carl Urban, the only movies I can think of with Carl Urban are The Two Towers and Return of the King. He plays the son of the king of Minas Tirith, I think, something like that. Whose brother dies. Spoilers for Lord of the Rings. Sorry. He's in the Star Trek movies. He's in The Boys, but that's not allowed. I also can't name anyone else in The Boys because I dropped out of that show after one season. Heard it stays good. I enjoyed the season. I'm just not interested. I think he's in like one Marvel movie, maybe, but I can't remember which one it is. Jack Black, obviously there's so many options, kind of like Will Ferrell. Also kind of like Will Ferrell, I think, like one of the icons of comedy, of modern comedy at least. But over the last decade or so, again like Will Ferrell, I don't think it's that he has lost a step. It's just that the kinds of movies he was in don't get made anymore, and now he's relegated to shit like Goosebumps and Jumanji, which that's actually I keep going on these tangents. Both of those are two franchises and films, whatever. I mean, they both have sequels, so sure. That get a lot of critical praise. People are like, actually, this is kind of good. And I'm like, are you fucking high? I watched both new Jumanji movies. I've watched the first Goosebumps movies. It's one of probably 5 movies in the last decade that I haven't finished outside of a theater. I haven't finished 3 movies in a theater in my life. I've talked about that in a past episode, so go find it if you're really curious. But as far as a did not finish on my own TV or at a friend's house or something is almost unheard of for me. And Goosebumps was one of them. It didn't help that the movie was fucking horrible. I was also sick and really tired, and I was watching late at night, and there was like 40 minutes left, and I was like, I just can't do this right now. And I never went back to it. But the first hour and 20 minutes or whatever was fucking awful. It was actually a really short movie, I think. It was only like 80, 90, 100 minutes. Anyway, the first half is horrendous, and I can't imagine it gets much better. But I do feel much more qualified to speak on the Jumanji movies because I've seen both of them in their entirety. They're fucking dog shit. The Rock is a menace. Anyway, I gotta stop. I'm going on so many tangents. We're at 19 minutes. I think we could do this through... Wait, I had it. We were going to go through Star Trek into the MCU, but how are we going to get to Jack Black? Wait a minute. I had it in my head, and I got distracted by my Jumanji. We were going to go Carl Urban, Star Trek, Zoe Saldana. Oh, Karen Gillan in Jumanji. Okay, sorry. I had to get the rage out of my head. So we're gonna go Carl Urban into Star Trek. I think he's in. I know he's in Into Darkness. I'm pretty sure he's in the first one, but I just want to make sure. Then we're gonna do Zoe Saldana, who plays my Gamora, in. We could do all kinds. Let's do Infinity War, the best Marvel movie. And then we're gonna do Kieran. No, that's how you spell a man's name. Karen. Okay, let's try her last name. Gillen. Oh, it's literally just Karen. Oh my god. I thought it was like a weird Scottish spelling for some reason. Karen Gillan, who plays Nebula. My Gamora's sister. And Karen Gillan is in Jumanji. Welcome to the Jungle, I think, with Jack Black. 5 moves again. That's kind of been our default, other than that one time we went like 15 moves. Don't talk to me about that one. I'm sure there's better paths, as there always are. 16 people did The Rock. I've never heard of Doom. Didn't know Carl Urban or The Rock were in it because I've never heard of it. Okay, he was in Thor Ragnarok. I knew he was in a Marvel movie, I just couldn't remember what it was. I've also never heard of... I have heard of The House with the Clock on Its Walls. I've heard it's very good. That's the thing about Jack Black. Like, this is the thing Jack Black has that Will Ferrell doesn't, unless I'm just misremembering, is Jack Black has had this decade of shit, but he's also had... I can't be 100% sure on this. This movie might suck, but I'm pretty sure I've heard this movie is really good. And I know for a fact he was in Wherever You're Going, He Won't Get Far on Foot, or whatever. The Joaquin Phoenix movie, the Gus Van Sant, I think, or something like that. Something about He Won't Get Far on Foot. But, so he's been in a couple of bangers, like indie bangers. Outside of the franchise schlock he's been stuck in. He was also just in the new Richard Linklater movie. He's done a lot of stuff with Richard Linklater, obviously, including School of Rock, one of the greatest movies of all time. Oh my god, this is the one I should have gotten. I'm so embarrassed that I didn't think of this. I just watched Peter Jackson's King Kong for the first time back in December, so like 6-7 months ago now. It's so good. And I'm always banging the gong for Andy Serkis, saying like he deserves more recognition. He should get like a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Oscars. I'm sure he will once he's older, because they're never going to recognize him in a traditional acting category, even though they should. He has done as much for the craft of acting as almost anyone alive. I'm really, really upset with myself that I didn't think of this connection, because it's very fast and very obvious. I don't think we need to look through the rest of these. Like, what the hell is The Jackal with Bruce Willis and Jack Black? That probably is the worst movie ever made. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't guarantee there's going to be an episode tomorrow. There almost certainly won't be an episode Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. Maybe this weekend. We'll see how things go. But, yeah, I'll see you guys again next time.